It was up to everybody out there. Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I'm your host, C Money, and today we want to talk about, in this episode, I want to talk about a hurting economy during the coronavirus and the new initiative for falling businesses. What I'm talking about is it is now 2021, and yes, we do have a Delta variant, and we do have cases that have been going up and we have been hospitals are more out of back to where we used to where we first was in early 2020 when the cases are going up and the hospitals are more crazier. But now we have another situation going around America, which is called lack of labor. And lack of labor, what I mean is that a lot of jobs are now including my job where I work at, a lot of jobs are hurting for labor, meaning that everywhere you go, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, fast food restaurants, five-star dining restaurants, hotels, theme parks, wherever you go, these businesses are now seeking employees and seeking work because of the fact that they're hurting in labor. It's been several places. Recently I went to I had a meeting at a bank with my mom's bank. I'm not saying the name of the bank, and the manager of the bank had to go to another location bank because the other location that that manager was managing was short on staff, and the location we was at was like they were short on staff, but I guess the other location was really short on staff. So I'm like, even the banks are short on staff, and I've seen, where they're hiring at banks as well too. Big businesses are hiring as well, and now I've seen in recent media that a lot of these restaurants, like fast food restaurants like McDonald's and Burger King and stuff, are resulting to hiring 14 and 15-year-olds to be working in a place establishment. Because, in past years, you had to be at least 16 years old to work in certain places. And of course, when first started working, I was around 15 years old when I first started working. My very first job, I'm not a chain. My very first paying job, I'm not afraid to say, was a bad boy at Winn Dixie. So, and I started at the age of 15, and then a couple of months later, I turned 16. I started in the middle of the year, and then towards the end of the year, I was 16, and then, But my position was I can only work weekends when I first started because at Winn Dixie, when they was hiring 15-year-olds, you can only work weekends. Like you can work maybe 6 hours on Saturday, 3 hours to 4 hours on Sunday, because you was a student, so you could. And then and then when you turn 16, you can work weekdays, but you can only work up to 10:30 at night. You can't work past 10:30 because you was a student or whatever. Now I don't know how it is because I haven't worked for Winn Dixie in God knows 20 plus years. So that's how it is. But now a lot of these businesses are resorting to that and hiring 14 and 15-year-olds. And the reason why businesses are hurting, unemployment. It's no brainer. As the cases go up, a lot of these people are being hospitalized because, like I told you before, they're blaming on the vaccine. But it's not just about the vaccine. It's about, and I keep telling you this over and over again in previous shows, it's the easing the restrictions of masks. Because I still go to these places. Remember, I visited a member in a video I did last week when I was at Star Island. And, even though it's a resort that has a gate, it's a gated resort, people were still walking around without their masks. In the resort, I kind of understand because it's a lot of social distancing. You're not bunched up with each other. But, like, when I went to Fun Spot and I've been to these stores and stuff in Orlando, people was walking around without masks, and a lot of these businesses wasn't requiring you to wear masks. Fun Spot wasn't requiring you to wear masks, but people, a percentage like 70 to 80% of the people wasn't wearing the masks, and I was like, okay, wow. But what is happening now is you got, and I've seen this on several like media platforms or several like news platforms or whatever, that and I've also experienced it myself, and with down here locally I've seen it. unemployment is still paying people. Maybe there's people are still getting paid by unemployment. Some states are still probably doing the $300 a week, or some states probably got the PUA. Some people are still receiving unemployment, and in certain states, if like say for instance Georgia, if you're still getting paid for unemployment in Georgia, the cost of living in under Georgia is low, like $200-300 for a 2-3 bedroom house or so and stuff. And it's like I'm getting $300 from unemployment every week. My rent is only 200 to 300 a month. I have money to pay my bills and do what I need to do. Why do I need to go back to work yet? That's one of the reasons why people are still living off of unemployment, and unemployment is paying their bills. Number one, and then a lot of people are scared to go back out there because remember the Delta variant is here, and people are scared to go back to work because even if you do get the Delta variant, you have to get a booster shot later on down the line to protect you with that Delta variant. And a lot of people don't want to go out there because, and then unemployment. You still get unemployment. Down here is different because the cost of living down here is like up there. So unemployment is not really gonna do too much for you down here. But there are people in many other states that are still getting unemployment and still getting, what I'm saying, unemployment checks, and they're still getting, what I'm saying, funding, like money from the government. They're still giving out pandemic food stamps. I call it pandemic food stamps because there are people that was giving 100+ extra dollars or so in their food stamps, because of the pandemic. A lot of these people are living, oh, I can pay my bills with the unemployment, or I can go to the store with the food stamps, and I ain't got no money and stuff. And then there are people that are still living off their stimulus, even though the stimulus was given back in the early 2000s and in late 2000. I mean the early 2000s, early 2021, late 2020. You know, there are still people that are still living off of the pandemic. The stimulus checks, the first one, the second one, the third. There are people still living off their stimulus because you feel like, hey, I have money. You know what I'm saying? I have money saved up, or I still, what I'm saying, have money from my stimulus because I didn't go buy all my food. I didn't go out and splurge like a lot of people, or and my rent is only $300 a month, and there's so a lot of these people are still living off of the pandemic, unemployment, stimulus checks, PUA, you know, compensation, because some jobs they gave their employees some money. A lot of these places like the Miami Heat did a $1 million pandemic relief fund from owner Mickey Erickson. He gave and the Miami Heat gave $1 million, what I'm saying, to help all of the employees who worked there at the Miami Heat or worked with the Miami Heat, and everybody got a chunk of that money. And I'm quite sure the Dolphins did the same thing, and a lot of businesses did the same thing because the Miami Heat had posted it on their site and everything. And a lot of people think, and then there was this thing with the restaurant industry that they had a restaurant relief fund where anybody who worked in the restaurant industry, you signed up and you get like $500, what I'm saying, because it was for the restaurants and stuff. And then a lot of these businesses got a lot of money to where they was able to pay their workers, you know, a chump change or a bit of money to say, hey, we know that you're hurting, we want to keep you on our payroll, so here's some money until we can open back up. So a lot of people are still, and then a lot of these people don't want to return to work because they're still living off of unemployment. And yeah, and it's true. You have people here that was making probably $8-9 an hour before the pandemic. You know, During the pandemic, that they passed a law in Florida to raise the minimum wage to $15, but it's not raised to $15 just yet. Within the years, your raise go up and up and up. I've seen at McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff that they're starting their workers off at $11, and now a lot of people feel like as if I don't want to work for chump change. $11. McDonald's back in the day used to only get paid $5-6 an hour. Then it went up to $8-9. Depending on the time frame and the cost of living and everything going up. Now they're saying, oh, come on in, we start you at $11. What I've heard about Walmart is they start you roughly offered $15. And I say, yeah, because Walmart wants to cut out the middleman. Walmart don't want to continue raising your um, pay rate every year, every year, every year. They just want to say, forget it. We just gonna pay you the $15 and just start you off at $15. We don't want to pay you $11 here. Then next year we gotta raise it to 12. Then next year we gotta raise it to 13. Then 14. Then no, we want. A lot of these businesses are trying to get people into work, and they're trying to get people back to working because they're hurting now. A lot of these Burger King and McDonald's and these dine-in restaurants and these clothing stores and these department stores and these businesses are hurting because they don't have the workers like they do. Just like my job, just like a lot of other jobs, they're hurting right now because you have workers. Because number one, before the pandemic, everybody had workers. There was very little to jobs out there. Like you had to hunt for a job. You had to seek for a job. Then when the pandemic shut down, then when everything shut down during the pandemic, there was no jobs. Meaning you couldn't find a job because there was no jobs out there. Then when they slowly started opening them back up, there was very little jobs out there because a lot of people couldn't hire a lot of people because they was only limited. Restaurants couldn't hire waiters and waitresses because dining rooms was closed. They only can, and then they can only do limited cooks because if you're only doing takeout and delivery, you may not have a lot of orders coming in because a lot of people didn't have Uber Eats and Postmates and Grubhub. They didn't have all these Postmates, and they didn't have all these delivery ordering sites. They only knew about, okay, order on Pizza Hut and order from Papa John's and they deliver. They didn't have all these delivery apps and stuff. And a lot of these, restaurants, you can order through their website and then they deliver. They didn't have where you had to go through a third party delivery service now and stuff like that. So a lot of these businesses didn't have these delivery services. And a lot of these people couldn't go out and eat. So there was only very little jobs out there. Now that the dining rooms are opening up and restaurants are opening back up and people are allowed to come inside and eat and now go out and do what they need to do, when we're trying to ease every restrictions and go back to normalcy, a lot of the jobs are hurting because there are still people out there that are still living off of unemployment. And then there are still people out there that are still scared to go back to work because the virus is still out there. And why would I want to go back to work when I'm still getting paid unemployment to sit home and stay safe? Which is understandable, but then you also have to realize when you do go out to these restaurants, when you do go out to these stores, and you have to wait. I went into a Walmart, and this was before I went on my trip to Orlando. And I went to a Walmart, which is one of the closest ones to where I stay in, and it was a line to get in. And after and I was like, wow, Walmart is back to waiting in lines to get inside the Walmart because at one point Walmart had stopped the waiting in line because they was like, okay, well, okay, I done been in several Walmarts and other locations where you can just walk right in. Because remember, I told you, what I'm saying, in the past that Walmart was saying if you was fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you're not fully vaccinated, you have to wear a mask. And then I was saying that it was a problem because most people who ain't got vaccinated, they can walk around without a mask and they can't say nothing to you because it's against the law to ask if you've been fully vaccinated. So it's like, that's why I say it's a nightmare. And I told you before, a friend of mine went to the same Walmart that I went to recently and was like scared to go in there because he was like, oh, the mask, ain't no mask, it's the coronas in here and stuff like that. But the same Walmart I went into, I had to wait in line for almost like 10, maybe 15 minutes or so. And I said, I need to go in here because I wanted to get some things out of here. And I was trying to get some things for my trip. And I was like, okay, whatever. Then when I went in, the lines was about 30 minutes long to wait in line. And this is one of the Walmarts where they didn't have to self-checkout because most new Walmarts and most new stores now have self-checkout. And I like self-checkout, but the only thing about self-checkout is, those lines belong to. And the lines was almost 30 minutes long. Then not only that, Walmart didn't really have too much of nothing in there. And I was like, it was crowded. It was like if the corona was in here, it would be deadly. I stayed no more than like maybe 5 minutes in there. I went in there, looked around, see, because there was very few little things I wanted to see, and I was only gonna going there for a few things. And even if I was going there for a few things, I would have been in there I would have been in line longer than I would have been shopping. And I felt like I'm not gonna sit here in a line for this long, and I have other things to do, you know. And so I left. I said, forget it. I said, there's no way I'm gonna sit in line, and then there's no social distancing. You're not telling people to stay 6 feet apart. You're not telling people to wear their mask. You're not telling people, you know what I'm saying, this and that. All you're doing, the only way you're social distancing is having people wait in line. Then when a half of people come out, then you let a few people in. But and I look at that and I'm like, you know, this is because of the fact that businesses are hurting. Number one, at Walmart, all of your registers should be open all day. And that means that every register at every Walmart in every lane should be open because you know Walmart gets crazy because it's the new place to shop at that everybody goes to. Because you know everybody used to go to Winn-Dixie and Publix and Save a Lot and you know a lot of these mom and pop restaurants. Now you have these people going to Walmart because Walmart has everything, and then now Walmart has neighborhood markets and stuff like that. And but you know, I look at it as if, and that's the thing. A lot of these people don't want to go back to work because they feel it's you getting money from the government. And I'm like, yes, you're getting money from the government, but when you go out and you want to eat out and you want to go and shop, think about how hurting these businesses. Think about you waiting in line. Let's say, for instance, you used to work at Burger King, and then now you getting money from the government, and you lost your job due to COVID, and now you're at home sitting here getting unemployment and getting food stamps, and then you decide you want to go to a nice restaurant. Then you see a long line, and they say, "Oh, it's going to be 20 minutes to get sit to be seated," and then you like 20 minutes. Do I want to sit here? It's the same thing if you was at a, and the reason why it's 20 minutes because number one, you may not have a lot of servers that are serving the customers. Number two, it may be the fact that they don't have enough seating. Like you have servers that probably have to do 5 tables at one time when because they don't have enough um, workers to work every. Because you know if you go into a Denny's or if you go into a TGI Fridays or IHOP or you know a Chili's or something, you have like a server for every 2 to 3 um, areas, like 2 to 3 seating areas. Now you may have a server to every 5 and 6 tables, and it's a workload for them because they don't have enough servers and not enough waiters and waitresses and hostesses, you know, and stuff like that. And then you might don't have a lot of cooks, so now the cooks have to do 2 or 3 orders at one time, you know, and it's hard for them to actually serve people. And I'm like, and then just like at McDonald's, if you have only one cashier working the front end and one cashier working the drive-through, you can imagine, and 1 or 2 cooks in the back, you're supposed to have 2 cooks to work the front end registers that's supposed to be making the food for the front end, and at least 2 cooks that's supposed to be making the drive-through orders. Right now, I recently visited a Pollo Tropical with a friend of mine, and this is the same friend I went to Star Island with when I went to Orlando with, and we visited a Pollo Tropical in here in Miami, not in Orlando, because you know when I go out of town, I want to eat something different than local foods, you know. So we visited a Pollo Tropical, and this was before our trip. Pollo Tropical has no dining. You only doing takeout only, and you have to order online through maybe Uber Eats. Because Pollo Tropical, I don't think you can order on their website. You have to either order through Uber Eats or some other website. And I used to always wonder why was why every time I see a Pollo Tropical, the lines is long. I now realize that most Pollo Tropicals, and I don't know if it's all Pollo Tropicals, but I know the Pollo Tropical we went to, they don't allow dine-in. You can only do takeout only. No, 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 no. I would phrase that. I don't know if they do dine-in. That they have you have to order online for pickup. You can't come to the restaurant and say, "Oh, I want to get the troppy chop or the chicken and rice," and you have to order online and then get it picked up. Because what we did was we went there to go eat. The man was like, "Oh, you have to order online." So we had to sit in the dining area and order our food online. And my friend ordered it through Uber Eats because I believe that was the site that you could order it from. I don't know if you can order it through their website, but I know we ordered our food through Uber Eats. And then it ended up that we had to sit there and wait till our food got ready. I don't know if they was allowing you to dine in, but to order you had to order online for pickup, and I'm to pick up, and I'm like, that is kind of weird. And I see that's why, and I guess because Pollo may not have a lot of staff members, and I'm like, but your drive-through line is long because of the fact that you're not allowing. You have to line. That's the only way you can order at the restaurant through drive-through. If you want to walk in to order, you have to order online. And it was the same way, and the same thing with Chick-fil-A. I don't know the process with Chick-fil-A because I've never eaten at Chick-fil-A, and I'm one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of Chick-fil-A, and one of the reasons because of their beliefs and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go into that because that's something totally different. But my thing is, I've seen long lines of Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A have to have somebody outside. Not only do they have the walk up, the drive through window where you walk up and you look at the menu and say, hey, I want this, but they have to have somebody outside monitoring the cars through the drive through. And I'm like, why? Is it because Chick-fil-A doesn't allow inside ordering, or is it that it's gotten to the point where they're not either they're not having inside, either you can't dine in on the inside, or is it that people are now ordering drive-through because it's more safer and convenient? It's a lot of these things because a lot of these drive-throughs I've seen lately have been long lines, and I'm like, is it because they don't allow inside ordering? They don't allow you to eat on the inside, or what is it? So it's a lot of things playing behind that. And then that's why I say a lot of these businesses are hurting to the point where now they're resulting in hiring 14 and 15-year-olds because they're hurting. They need jobs. And a lot of these 14 and 15 year because back in the day it was hard to hire a 14 or 15-year-old because of the fact that, they was young. A lot of these people wanted grown adults. Like, yeah, to work in Burger King, McDonald's, you could be 16 and 17-year-old because, you know, they make a couple of dollars, but a lot of these businesses now are requiring you at least be 18 years, especially businesses that are handy. See, Burger King and McDonald's, they can hire 14 and 15-year-olds because they don't have liquor. But a lot of these businesses, like restaurants and stuff, who does sell liquor, most of them are restricted or hiring minors because of the fact that they're not, what I'm saying, just like, you know, they're not supposed to, be around liquor and stuff like that because they don't have they can't handle liquor, but they're not supposed to be around liquor because they're underage, and yeah, it's the law or whatever. But a lot of these restaurants that like I don't know about IHOP and Denny's and stuff like that, but a lot of these fast food restaurants, they're resulting into hiring underage people, and then I look at that and I say, well, that's a smart move because now you got people that's sitting on their behind still collecting money from unemployment. But then, and I was looking at other, say options that in the near future, things are going to get back to the normal where you're going to get off your behind and you need to work. How long, and I was telling one of my coworkers, and I was like, how long you think that this unemployment is going to last? Sooner or later, the president and unemployment officials are going to say, hey, look, there's jobs out there. We finna stop paying y'all these unemployment so y'all can get back to work. No more unemployment. They're going to soon be telling people that, what I'm saying, we're not going to be paying no more $300. We're not going to be paying no more this and that. We're not going to give you no PUA. We're not going to be giving you this because there are jobs out there and people need to get back to work. It's just a lot of these people don't want to get back out there to work because they don't want, like, a lot of these people, and I understand some of these people, they don't like what I'm saying, like, I've seen people that said, I wouldn't do fast food restaurants. I wouldn't work Burger King. I wouldn't work McDonald's. I wouldn't work Wendy's. I wouldn't work Chicken. And I look at it as if, yeah, some people don't think that they're cut out for fast food working. But I look at it as if I was down on my luck and didn't have a dollar to my name and this job was hiring and they offered me a job, I would do it. I still get emails from a lot of businesses that are hiring through, different like job search sites, like LinkedIn, Career Builder, job Indeed, like job websites like that. I still get, people, hey, we're hiring, we're this, we're that, and I look at it as if, yeah, but even though I'm back to work now, there's jobs that are hurting out there because they really need people to work. And there's a lot of restaurants I see out there. McDonald's, we're starting you off at $11 an hour. Wendy's, we're starting you off at $11 an hour. You get benefits, you get this, you get that. And a lot of these jobs are hurting. Walmart, Winn-Dixie, like I told you, I seen the bank. And I'm like, yeah, because a lot of these businesses are hurting because at the end of the day, they need people. And right now, the economy is hurting not because of, and not just because of the coronavirus. It's because that they don't have enough workers to go out there. You got a half of your economy, and that's another thing. A lot of these people have died. Just recently, they said three Miami-Dade County school teachers have died because they had the coronavirus. So now you have to replace those teachers. And not only that, what if your coworker dies of coronavirus? What if your boss or one of somebody you knew at your job died of the coronavirus? Now they have to replace that worker with a job, with a position. And that may be hard to do because now you have people living off of unemployment. You have people living off of this. You have people living off of that. And, to the point where they don't want to go back to work right now. And to some people, I agree not to go back to work because the cases are going up and depending on where you work and what you're doing. But there is a such thing as you can't live off the government forever. You can't live off of unemployment forever. Unemployment eventually, I believe in 2022, a lot Joe Biden is going to do because we're almost at the end of 2021. It is now what, September and October, November, December. You got about 3-4 months before 2020. By next year, 2020, they're going to say, hey, we're going to stop this unemployment because there's enough jobs for people to go out there and get. There's enough jobs for people to make money. We're not going to continue dishing out unemployment for people who can go out there and flip a burger, or people who can go out there and bag some groceries, or people who can go out there and do labor work. A lot of these jobs are offering you $11, $12, $13, $14. A lot of these jobs are not offering you chump change. They're offering you real hardcore money, $10 and up. Every restaurant I've seen said $11 and up. Florida just passed a $15 minimum wage last year, and some jobs are starting you off at $15. Other jobs are starting you off at 11, and then you work your way to $15. But you got to realize something: unemployment doesn't last long, and a lot of these people don't realize even though the cases are going up, we know how to protect ourselves and stay safe. Either you got vaccinated or you don't get vaccinated. You still need to go out there and make money. Yeah, unemployment is giving you $200-$300 every week or whatever. But where's the cushion money? You know, especially down here in the South Florida area, where the cost of living is going up every day. It costs you almost $1,000 just to rent a 1-bedroom apartment, and you're talking about $300 every week with unemployment. Yeah, that's fine if you live in Georgia or a lot of these other southern states that rent is only $300 and $200 a month and stuff. Because I visited Georgia and I've seen the rent up there, and I've looked at some of the places. I'm like, you're paying $300 for this? This is amazing. Down here in South Florida, you'll be paying like $800-$900 for this. Maybe $1,000. And I've seen a lot of these cases where stuff like that. But then people look at it as if they can live off of it because they can survive off of it. They don't want to go back to work. And then when you do go back to work, it's going to be hurting because now a lot of these young kids are going to be taking jobs. You got these 14, 15, 16-year-olds that's looking for money, because they tired of they living off their family. They're going to come take your job, and then to put it on, you ain't going to have no job. You're going to be like, wow. Why? Because you living off of unemployment. These kids can't live off of unemployment because they never had a job. And now these kids finna come take your job, and you're going to be out of a job, and, you trying to see what is what. I want to know what y'all think about this. What do you think about the economy and the hurting economy and the jobs, and what you think about this? We're going to do a follow-up on this as well too. What do you think about the hurting economy and about these jobs and everything? Email me roundtable00@yahoo.com. You can also comment at the bottom of this page, because this is a topic that's going around for the past week or two, where 14, 15-year-olds are now going to be hired at most businesses because they're hurting for money, they're hurting for jobs, and they're hurting for labor. And we just celebrated Labor Day, and there's not much labor going around. So I want to know what you feel about that, how you feel. What do you feel? Do you feel as if it's right for businesses to hire 14 and 15-year-olds? Do you think it's wrong for businesses to hire 14 and 15-year-olds? Because I think it's wonderful that they're hiring 14, 15-year-olds because it'll give them a chance to learn the work field before they go off to college. It'll give them the chance to learn how it feels to work in the industry before, saying, they get hands on in the real world, And I want to know how you feel about that. Roundtable00 at yahoo.com. Comment at the bottom of this page. This is your host, C Money. I thank y'all for watching this show. Check out previous episodes as well. Check out my trip to Star Island Resort in Orlando. Check out Hot Spots in South Florida. This is the Roundtable Talk. I thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. Stay safe.